Vika. Okay, we're live. Okay, welcome everybody. This is the CEO show, and my name is Sasha Garcia Gavriluk. I'm the founder of the space, actually. And today we have a free and really warm Christmas conversation about ICPs, and not only. I'm here with my partners, with Susanna and Hans. They both live and work in Sweden and work with global startups and companies and not only Series A companies, big, large enterprises. And today we are here to actually speak about myths about ICPs and we will try to give you as much value as we can. That's why we have a simple presentation prepared. Just enjoy the show and leave your comments below if you want to ask us a question or anything. So let's start with the audience, right? Who is this live stream and recording later on would be valuable for? For whom is it worth to invest their time of their life in order to watch this short show and to take the maximum of it? Susanna, could you go ahead and jump on that?
Sure. So the audience for whom this is most suited for is a B2B tech company. They can provide solutions as a service, or they can provide products and services as well. They selling complex and expensive solutions for customers, and their target market is mid-market or enterprise or even global organizations. And as you mentioned, I mean, at Bunes and Ferenczi, we work with companies, smaller companies or even bigger companies. But what's common between these companies that they all see growth as a strategic element. So, I mean, it's not about growth hacking and then what can we do very tactically. The second thing is that they all selling complex solutions and they have salespeople. So there are salespeople engaged in the process. And the third thing is that they see their ideal customers as complex organizations. So they can be less complex. I mean, a mid-market customer or a smaller enterprise would be less complex, but their solutions is really suitable all the way up to global enterprises. And that's sort of the context in which we provide strategies, methods, insights, and data to help these customers or help these solution providers to create their strategic plan.
Great. And this strategic growth, what is your take on that? How can they make the strategic growth actually a sustainable model if they're not running after the fast life hacks and tactics that are just going to boost your revenue next month and never again? What is it we're talking about? What is sustainable growth in your opinion?
Sure. If I don't know if you have the next slide, but the next slide explains a little bit what we mean by that. And what we mean by that is there are two aspects of sustainable growth. So when you think of yourself as a solution provider, for sure you understand the magic that you bring to the world, right? You have strategies, you have strengths, you have an idea why you exist in the first place, what solutions, what value you want to bring to the world. And that understanding is absolutely crucial to your strategic growth, that you truly understand who you are, what is your capability, and then what solutions you provide to the world. I mean, to me, that's one. The second is that capability that you understand the market or what's outside. What is the external context in which you want to succeed? And that means that you truly understand how your solution can be brought into a marketplace, which surrounds you, your customers, the economical situation, the potential partners, the competition, the technology, politics, legal aspects. So to me, the value creation happens by knowing who you are and what you bring to the world and what solutions you provide to the world, and the understanding of that external world in which that solution needs to fit. So our advice to everyone who wants to really create strategic growth plans is these two aspects: your internal world and how your internal world can be matched with the external world.
Because you believe that only a good resonance of the two powers of internal and externals can create actually the value for the market and the
Absolutely.
growth, and this is how we create the impact in the industry where we work and get revenue as a bonus.
Absolutely. So we talk a lot about context. What is your
Mhm.
context? What's your internal context? What is the external context in which your solution makes sense, right? Sort of the whole idea about why starting with defining your ideal customer profile is based on this, that the sustainable word or the sustainable growth will only comes when you understand how you bring yourself to the market in a context-rich way, right?
What I love about this is that we are not trying to make organization look somebody different than they really are. So we are starting from their strengths within, and then we market those strengths as the key features, and we are looking for the ICPs to match those strengths
Yes.
who would pay for the original super powers that the company has within. It looks to me very organized and very harmonious way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would like to probably jump ahead and kind of give a heads up to our audience here that we plan to keep talking about how you could create your sustainable growth plan if you're a B2B tech company, specifically in January more. And my team will leave a form to register here just below this video so that you could go ahead and take part in the master classes which Zsuzsanna and Hans are preparing for us. They will be free of charge, but you need to be registered. So we strongly suggest you to keep learning from us more today and sign up for the series that we're going to do in January. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Go ahead, Zsuzsanna.
Yes. So, I mean, you remember what I just said, that context is very important. So even in our work, I mean, that's the context that we see. So where we see the ICP approach makes sense is when we understand these external challenges, what's going on. Why is ICP so important, and why maybe 15, 20 years ago, it was less relevant. So one thing that changed in the last 10, 15 years is really the overcrowded marketplace. So there are a lot of solution providers sort of competing, let's say, more or less in the same space. So if you look at just the sales and marketing tech landscape, I think over the last couple of years, it's grown from 700 to multiple dozens. I think it's more than 10,000 now. So understanding truly who you are and then really what is the value that you provide is essential to survive in today's marketplace. So moving away from that fear-based approach that, okay, these are all my competitors and I need to copy them and I need to be better than them. Stop that, and then move away from this and move towards to, okay, who is the customer for whom I create value? What's the articulated differentiation that only I can provide? So really doing that introspection as a first step is extremely important when you step onto the marketplace with dozens and dozens of competitors around you. So that's the first thing that really changed. The second thing that really changed, I mean, almost related to this, that a lot of companies today have a product centricity, which is all fine. We're all really proud of the products and methods and solutions that we provide to the market. But really what we need to switch to is problem centricity. So what is the problem that your solution provides? And what is the problem that your solution provides value for? What is it solving? What possibilities does it open up for the words? I mean, move away from product centricity, and that means features, benefits, hacks, etc., into, okay, what is the problem that we're solving? In what context this problem appears? And then why does it make sense for my customer to start talking to me and then to talk about my solution? The third piece that changed is that, again, because of the complexity, we're still on the previous page. So because of the complexity, there is a lot of growth elements that in the past we needed to take care about. So again, moving to a more customer-centric way of operating and creating a go-to-market plan that is fitting with your context is very, very important. So this is why we start with ICP. This is because the core of the ICP is two things, really. One is the ICP for you will be the organization that gets the most value from your solution. So remember what I just said before, that you move away from product centricity to problem centricity. Once you understand the problem centricity, then you understand really what is the value that surrounds that problem solution, right? Sort of when you solve that problem, what is the value that's created? So that's very important. The second part of it, though, is that it has to solve that problem in a profitable way for you, right? Because maybe you can solve that problem for that customer, but you cannot be profitable in solving that problem because you have to do a lot of manual elements surrounding that product that you're offering. So it's much better to really be honest about that. How do I solve that problem in a profitable way and without harming others, the environment, the community, stakeholders, partners, etc. Right? So this is where we really say that that's the ICP, and then the ICP work that we do is really surrounding this context, right? So what is your internal context? What is the external context that you're running? What is the value that you create? How do you create that value? In what kind of organizations does that value means anything? And that's the discovery that we do and we ask our clients to do by themselves or with us, or we do it for them. But this is the core element that we start with. Really, what's that customer that gets the most value from your solution, and how can you do it in a profitable way? Okay. And then I think finally, just to set the scene, so once you have that ICP, what can you use it for? Which is the next slide. So once you have that ICP, and then you follow the methodology that we provide, then one, you really are able to create your next customer universe, right? Sort of how do you create your next 100 or next 1,000 or next 10,000 customers that really fit your solution proposition? How do you, you learn really deeply who these customers are, and then how they behave on the market, and what they do in order to get to the solution. So with this knowledge, you can guide your customers along that journey. Really can use the ICP knowledge to understand yourself better, therefore positioning yourself on this crowded market. You can really use the ICP definition to create narrative for your business development. And finally, the ICP is also about gathering relevant intelligence about your customers, because you know what's important for them. So not only we use the ICP to create the narrative, we're not only using the ICP to create product positioning, but we really use the ICP in a very active way during business development. And then I think with this, unless you have other questions, Sasha, we can move on to some of the things that we're learning on this marketplace.
Sure.
And seeing how can we bring that clarity more. We'll talk more about this, of course, in January. We're breaking it down step by step. How do you create your context map, your internal context map, your solution propositioning? So all of this is going to be covered in our masterclass series. But for now, I think we have some urgent questions to answer to, which I would really like to keep some time for.
Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and switch to the next slide, Tim, please.
And the next one.
And the next one. Yes. So what we're talking here about is we cordially invite you all to join the free masterclass series, where we are going to go in depth into methodology that Zsuzsanna and Hans are using for their customers. And you will be able to kind of have a strategic January where you will try to fit your solution, your problem solution to the ICP, and find everything in between that can start to shape your narrative and all your strategic marketing decisions. Is that right, Zsuzsanna? Do you have anything to add on the webinar series coming?
No, I don't. Maybe Hans would have something to add.
Maybe two things. One is free, so it is.
Yes.
It's free, and the other thing is that we'll be giving away some of our templates as a part of this, so to help you guide yourself through the process as a part of that. So
amazing.
So that's one thing we look forward to.
Yeah, that's our Christmas gifting, kind of January gifting. And to register for the webinar, we just need a couple of your contact details so that we can send you a Google Calendar invite, and just go ahead, fill out the form below this video. We'll be happy to add you to these activities and share the knowledge, the expertise that Zsuzsanna and Hans are bringing to us. Okay, let's start switching to the debunking ICP and myth and everything in between. Hans is very popular on LinkedIn for his Mythbusters series. So let's go ahead and share some of those ideas and knowledge.
Yeah, the quote you see here, lies, damn lies, and statistics, is either Benjamin Disraeli, one Prime Minister of the UK, or Mark Twain, who has said it. And there's a lot of discussion about, what's the true, true data and true ICP. And in the comment field, I'd like for everyone to answer the following question. Zsuzsanna and I, we talk every Monday morning at 9:30, and we kind of start off with this notion of whatever we've seen in LinkedIn this week that we disagree with in terms of ICP. And we think of ourselves, for those of you who have been old enough to remember the Muppet Show, which was a very popular show in the in the 70s and 80s, Jim Henson's Muppet Show. There's two characters that sits on the balcony and comments everything that's going on. And that's how we feel on Monday morning. These two old geezers that sit on the comment and making fun of everything that's in the show. So think about Zsuzsanna and I for the rest of this presentation. I'd like to know in the comments who remember the Muppet shows and who remember these two old geezers. So let's go to the next slide, which is our myth number one. Now, there's a lot of stuff that we see around recommendations on creating your ICP that starts with firmographic. So firmographic is your classical company data information, employee size, revenue, vertical, industry code, age, how many subsidiaries you have, and so forth. And that data is useful in many ways. And I'll give you a little bit of an analogy here. So to maybe help you where it would be very useful to do. So it's no secret that I spent 12 years with the company that today we know as HP Inc., which is the PC and printer side of the old Hewlett-Packard company. And if I look at their business, if I look at selling PCs to enterprise customers and so forth, right? It's probably very likely that selling, you can use employee size and industry code to understand how many devices can I sell to a financial services institution, a financial services type of company, how many devices based upon their employee count, how many can I sell to someone in manufacturing. So it'd be less in manufacturing per the number of employees and more in financial services. You probably can create a pretty good ICP model and a segmentation model on the basis of that. But if you get to a more complex element, it's not good enough, right? So we have been working with our friends Dun & Bradstreet on when we're dealing with thousands and thousands and even tens and thousands of accounts in certain markets, where when we do the ICP, we start looking at what are the data points that creates the predictive power where we know that we have the right ICP to go after it from a business development perspective. And what we've seen in these cases, and now we're using machine learning models and very vast analytics models to do this. So what's striking to us is that when we look at this is that it's not the firmographic data, the age of the company, the revenue, and the employee and industry code is actually only 7% of the predictive power. And the predictive power is do we have the top 10% of the ICP, the next 10%, and so forth. Only 7% is coming from firmographic. The rest of it is actually coming from website data, how these companies are presenting themselves to the world. And it's kind of logic, right? Because firmographic, as good as it is a historical representation of something that's taken place in the past. It does not tell you anything about their intentions today and intentions in the future, okay? So that's why we said that firmographic, you need firmographic data. You need to be able to know that it's the right company I'm going after. But to start off only with firmographic data and assume that that's enough in the context that we're talking about, complex selling, complex buying, big ticket items, our data says that it's not enough. It's actually a minor part of the modeling. You need it, but it's a minor part of the modeling, okay? So that's myth number one that we see. You know, it's segmentation first, and I see people lining up firmographic, and then let's create ICP within the segmentation. No, ICP first, and it's your baseline for segmentation. Let's define that first. So that's my myth number one that I want to bust today. Myth number two on the next slide, please, is this notion I see, oh, let's go into our CRM system and let's look to see who are the best 25 customers or 100 customers we sold to 2 years ago. The problem with this is that the context, as Zsuzsanna talked about, has changed. They may have been really good customers 2 years ago, but they may not represent because something has changed in your product. I'll give you a perfect example of this. We were doing some work with an early stage company, seed level company, because of our point number two of doing profitable business. Their solution required 1,000 users because there were no self-provisioning tools available for the customers to deploy the solution themselves. So in this case, our ICP required it to have a certain size of an organization in addition to maturity in order to be able to deploy. The second the context changed of self-provisioning tools being available in the solution, the profitability threshold is no longer 1,000 users. It's 100 users. So if you go back and look at 1,000 users of your database, and it's no longer true because the context has changed, right? What we traditionally see in most of the engagements we've done, and I'll put the finger up on it because it's roughly, is that once we go and look at historical transactions from CRM data, somewhere between 25 to 35% of those that you've sold to in the past, if it's older than a certain time, may no longer be qualified as input to creating a lookalike for the future, okay? So don't rely exclusively on what you've done in the past as a prediction of what you should be going after in the future. You need to take a snapshot now and understand what's going on in the future. Okay, think about that. And that's also kind of the idea that ICP is a living organism. It's not something you do once and then you revisit it in 10 years. It's probably something you want to find a cadence and a governance to keep refreshing over and over and over again. Okay. Myth number three that I like to be is that it is a persona. It is a individual, a functional, it's a CIO, or it's a CMO, or it is a VP of marketing. Yes, there are people within the organization that we need to understand. I mean, there's humans who are going to buy from us ultimately, right? And we need to understand those functional roles. But when we talk about ideal customer profile, there's a great analyst at Gartner, his name is Hank Barnes, that if you don't already follow Hank Barnes, please do, because he's one of the wisest people out there in this particular space. And he talks to a lot of buyers of technology every year. And Gartner has used this term enterprise persona, right? Which really talks about the behavioral aspects of an organization. How does this organization consume technology? How does this organization buy technology? Is this organization risk averse? Is this organization someone who is willing to take risk? Do they know how to deploy this? And so forth. So we're looking at these behavioral aspects around this. And that's why we say it's an enterprise persona, the organizational's behavior, not an individual's persona. But I just want to make sure that I don't say that personas or individuals don't matter. No, individuals buy. They're made up, but the individuals make up a team that is the buying entity, and we need to understand who they're in. That we need to think about it as the organization, not as an individual. So that's myth number three. Myth number four. Okay, so this is a bit complicated, and it's a thing that we spend a lot of time on with our clients as well. And then many people mix into this notion of that the who, the organization or the account, and when they're ready to buy, and they combine it into the ICP, right? People say, I want my ICP is these attributes, and it's someone who's in market to buy from me today. That's a problem, because you need to separate the two of them. We need to separate the two of them to where we essentially say that we have 30,000 customers that could be potentially our ICP in a given market, or we have 10,000, or we have a 200. We're in early stage, but just because they're not ready to buy from us today, they have the problem. Maybe the problem that we're solving for is number 4 on the priority list, and the 3 prior priorities need to be solved before they can deploy our technology solution, right? That makes them still perfect for us. It's just that the timing is not there yet. So when we talk about the ideal customer profile, we talk about the organization that has that biggest need ultimately, but we're not saying that they have the need now. They may have the need in 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months, and 12 months. And that's where all of these other great tools like intent data monitoring and all these other things, orchestration, come in, that we need to separate that out in order to find out when there's a time. And that was one of the points that Zsuzsanna made earlier about the kind of the intelligence collecting. That when we talk to ideal customers, we collect the intelligence to find out when is the right time to engage with them. Okay. So those are my four myths that I wanted to bust today, and the ones that we talk about every Monday morning at 9:30, sitting like grumpy old guys in a balcony of a Muppet show and say, God, did you see that post this week? It drives me crazy. And these are the things that drive us crazy.
Amazing. To learn more about the things that drive them crazy, please register for the webinar. Could we go back a little bit? Yeah. So we do have a simple type form where you can leave your details. If you want to go ahead and register for the webinar series, we're going to do 4, where we will go in details and in depth on all the concepts and all the myths about ICP. Because for me, honestly, it's been very insightful that you guys are looking at creating a very holistic approach to working the ICP with ICPs and to creating the strategic sustainable growth vehicles that will keep adapting to the changing context. So you're saying that you need to go back and revise your ICP, and basically if you're checking your ICP using your CRM system, you're looking backwards, you're not developing, you're not preparing for the future of tomorrow, because the clients who worked with you before may not be the clients you're targeting in the future. So just go ahead and fill out the form. We will be very happy to see you at the free webinar series, but we will not be promoting them too much. So this is basically your chance to get your free spot, because we want a small group of people that we will take in depth and will be able to work with them on the templates and the wisdom that Zsuzsanna and Hans have to share. So finally, the last slide about our speakers, because we kind of skipped it in the beginning because we were so eager to share what the puppet show has to share with us today, what they're complaining to each other. But I'm really thrilled to share with you a few details about the background that Zsuzsanna and Hans have. Could you guys go ahead and make a brief introduction yourself? Why you're doing what you're doing, and what was the experience that led you down the way to become strategic marketing people and work with organizations that are there on the scale? Yeah, Zsuzsanna, could we start with you?
Sure. So 25 years roughly in business development and sales, marketing, different aspects of business development, global product leadership, field marketing in many countries, running regional roles, etc. Always related to potential. So I mean, this has been my red thread in my career to find new ways of bringing the potential out for solution providers, and that led me to when I stepped out of HPE, which was my home base for 20 years. to really put all my energy and all my talent in helping other companies to find their sweet spot, find their potential, and then be successful on the market.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hans, the question about your bio is not a question, but still, could you go ahead and dive into it a little bit?
Yeah, so my life is two parts. One is half of my career, a little less than half by now. God, I'm getting old. It is in corporate world at HP, and then the other half has been from 4 people entities up to bigger entities. And Zsuzsanna and I worked together when she was at HPE. She was my client actually at HPE, and we solved a number of different problems when she was at HPE. But the one reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I've been in 2 or 3 smaller organizations where we didn't get this right. And I think our growth was so hampered by either the problem that we were trying to solve was no longer urgent and important enough to solve, or we were not very clear in what problem we were actually trying to solve, and therefore we couldn't scale and grow the business. And that's why I'm so passionate about this today, is that it's almost like I want to help people because I want them to not be in the situations that I've been in the past.
Yes,
that's kind of my big driver in this.
I understand that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful because you have the experience of not getting it right, and now you also know how to get it right, and you're guiding the people. That's why you guys are so generous as to do about four master classes in January just for free for our audience. Thank you so much, Zsuzsanna and Hans. I think we're a little bit out of time. We're right on time. And it was a pleasure for me to host you here, and a pleasure to collaborate. I look forward to our January, and I really hope that people who watch this recording or watch this live stream, if they catch up themselves thinking that this sounds right and I want to go in depth, please just use their opportunity and register for the upcoming webinar series. It's going to be in English. It's going to be in Zoom live format, and Zsuzsanna and Hans are going to share their expertise and templates that you can use with your team in order to find the perfect match and bring more value and revenue as a result to your customers. So that's all. Thank you very much for being here and for listening, and goodbye. Yeah, I think we have to sign off here. Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Bye.